Hello, this is Christy Fulk with Create with Christy. I'm here with a card that I made using the Happy Birthday to You Celebration Stamp Set. You can get the stamp set free with a $50 order before shipping and tax, and that's USA dollars. And I'll show you the set here, and then we'll get started with the card. Here's the stamp set, Happy Birthday to You. I love the stamp with the cake, and I love these flowers, and sometimes you just want to use the flowers. Well, you could fussy cut those, but Stampin' Up has made it very easy now with some dies that came out February 4th with the coordination product release. And these are the birthday dies. And I didn't realize this until I got the dies. I knew it had a framelit to cut out the cake, and I will be using this. I'll go ahead and put this over here in my dish. But it also cuts out just the flowers. Isn't that cool? So if you just want to use the flowers for your card, you don't have to do the cake. Really like that. And then they've got these 3 added dies that you can decorate your cake. I didn't use these in this card, but I am using the little cake stand. Okay, and I want to show you one more thing I'm using. I'm using, once again, the Stitch So Sweetly dies. If you've been watching my videos, you've seen me use these a lot. I knew I was going to like them, but I can't get over how much I use them now. They're my go-to dies right now. So what I will be using is the largest rectangle die right here is the one I'm using. I love these scalloped rectangles. I love these too, and I have used these quite a bit, but I think I probably use the scalloped rectangles the most. And those are all the dies we're using today. I'm going to bring in a piece of Pool Party. This is the card base, 5.5 by 8.5. And we fold this in half. Just always make sure you get the corners meet up, all 4 corners. Then I'm going to go ahead and do some stamping quick. That way we can do all the die cutting at the same time. And I'm going to bring in, these are red rubber stamps, by the way, but I still like to use my Stampin' Pierce mat. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and grab this scrap piece of paper because I am going to be stamping off because I don't want to stamp on my Pierce mat. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my Tuxedo Black Memento ink pad, ink this up. And I always find this inks up a lot better if I twist the ink pad just a little bit while I'm going. Okay, so that looks like it's stamped or inked up pretty well. So this time I'm going to do the whole cake. Actually, I'm just going to do the whole cake the whole time. That's true. That way, I forgot I made this big enough. To be honest, I would only need to, the next time, just stamp this top part. But I've got room there. I'm going to definitely make sure that I get the flowers, though. So I think I can fit them both on here. Oh, I sure can. And that way, too, I can pick which one looks the best for the cake. Yeah, they look the same, so I'm not going to worry about it. Those look good. So those are both all stamped with the Tuxedo Black Memento. Now, I'm going to have this one be the ones for my flowers. So all I'm going to color the flowers in this cake. And on this one, all I'm going to color is the cake. I'm not going to worry about the cake stand because I'm going to be die cutting that using this die here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started on the coloring. I'll go ahead and get this mat out of the way. I don't need that. I'm using the Calypso Coral Stampin' Blends. And I'm going to take the dark one first and color the center parts of the petals because I want those to be the dark areas, and I'm making sure they're jagged. And this one, since this edge of it folds up, I want to leave that for the light Calypso, because if you ever see a flower folded up, usually the bottom is lighter than the front of it. So I'll keep doing that till I have all the insides of the flowers done. Okay, I think I've got all the dark with that. Oh, I do want to do these little berries with the dark too. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of these done. I'm just going to go ahead and use the dark on these little bitty ones because I want them to be a little darker than the main flowers, because usually when you see the buds, sometimes they're darker than the actual flowers when they bud completely. So all this is with the dark Calypso, and I think that's got all of them. Now I'm going to start with the light, and I don't know if you can tell when I sped up the video, I end up going back because I found there's so many petals. Make sure you go over, look over them all to make sure you get all the areas that you want dark, because there are a few I missed. I went back and did it. So now I'm going to color in the rest of the flowers with the light clips of coral, making sure I go over where the two shades meet a few times so they blend together. So keep doing that till the flowers are all done. Now sometimes when you think you've got it all done, you just go back, and if the shading is still too stark of a difference, then just go back over it with the light again. Sometimes it takes one more swipe to get it. Once it's the alcohol has started to dry, it tends to blend it. If it doesn't blend enough, just go back and do some more. But those look pretty good. Well, that one needs blended a little more. But I love those flowers. I think they're so pretty. And I'm just going to bring in my dark Daffodil Delight real quick and just do the centers here. I'm not going to use two different colors. I'm just going to use the dark one here for the flower centers. Now I'm going to use the Old Olive to color in all of the leaves. Once again, starting with the dark, and I'm going to go along the dark little veins they put in the leaves, because that's where I want the leaves to be darker. And as you see, I always make sure I use jagged strokes, because I don't want it to look like straight lines, because I want it to look a little more realistic, like real flowers. So I'm going to do all the veins here with the dark Old Olive. Now with some of these small ones that don't have veins, I kind of put a little dark at the bottom of the leaves. Now I'm going to bring in my light Old Olive and do the same as I did with the petals. Color over the dark, color in the whole leaf, but also color over the dark again so the two shades blend together. Okay, it looks like I have the flowers all done. Now I'm going to come over here and color the cake in. So I'm bringing in my two, because I want to have the cake icing be yellow. So I'm going to take my dark Daffodil Delight once again, and where all these lines are on the cake, I'm just going to go over that with the dark. Now one thing I forgot to mention when I was doing this, coloring the flowers, you want to make sure you use a light touch when you color, because if you use too hard of a too much pressure, it starts fraying the point end of your brush, which you can see mine's starting to fray a little bit. These have been used for classes a few times, so a few of them have done a little too hard. They're learning, they know how to do it now, but that was before I had a chance to tell them you need to go just a little lighter, and that helps helps it from not fraying. So it looks like I've already done all the dark areas that I want. So go ahead and close that up. And now I'm going to go over the whole cake with light yellow. And I'm going over, once again, the dark Daffodil Yellow. I mean, Daffodil Delight, so the colors blend. Okay, as you can see, the one nice thing about this, I can color over some of the flowers because they're going to get covered up because I'm going to die cut these flowers out. So that's why you see I've gotten some of the yellow on the flowers. It didn't matter. That just helped me get it done faster. You do definitely want to make sure you don't get the yellow outside the outside lines. But the inner lines, it doesn't matter. And even if it gets on the plate too, that's going to be covered up, so you don't have to worry about that. So those are all colored in. And now we're ready to start die cutting. So I'll bring in my die cutting machine. Make sure that's in the screen. And I'm going to bring in my cake. I'm going to cut it first. So here are the flowers. So isn't that neat how that just goes right around those beautiful flowers? I'm definitely going to have to make a card without the cake once, with just the flowers. Sure, make some pretty cards. So these dies end up making this stamp set very versatile. Doesn't have to be, because this could be a wedding cake too, of course, but you don't even have to use the cake anymore. Pretty cool. I'm in love with the dies they've given us with the coordination. They have come up with some really nice extra ones I'm excited about. Okay, so now we've got these two. Now let's go ahead and get the other things die cut we need. I've got a piece of champagne foil. This is a 3x2 piece. And put my cake plate there. Then a piece of Whisper White. This is a 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And that's going to be with my largest scallop rectangle from the Stitch So Sweetly. Oops, I'm getting some magnets. I'll move that cardstock down. There, now it quits moving. So I've said in other videos, when it does that, it means it's in between some magnets and doesn't know which one to go to. So you just move the cardstock in that direction and it does just fine. Okay. Yep, that die cut out really well. Comes out super easy. And then we've got my rectangle. And now we're all done with the die cutting. So I'll get this out of the way. And we'll finish up this card really quick. There's only one more thing that we need to stamp with this. I'm gonna bring in my Pierce mat again. I'm gonna take the Celebrate stamp that's in the set. I love the handwriting font in this. It is so pretty. I really like this script font. So let me get this back on the screen. And that's gonna get stamped right here at the top, left corner, like so. Keep forgetting this is a brand new memento pad. It's inked up really well. Okay, now, one thing to let you know, when you put this plate on here, you can still see that stand because it's wider than this one, the stamped one. So you take your paper snips and just cut that off because you don't want that showing anymore. So you're gonna cut that off. Now I can put this on. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my multi-purpose glue and just put a little bit here along the bottom edge of the cake. Like so, just put it right along where you see that little stamped plate. And then you can put this on. And I love how these are raised right here on the ends because it makes it look like it's going right around that cake, the cake, so it makes it look more 3D. They just came up with every little detail. I love it. Oh, and I didn't poke all of these out yet, so let me hurry up and do that. I forgot that little part, so let's grab my brush. And they'll come out real quick with the brush. Yep, that got every single one. Oh, got one little. There's always got to be one little guy that doesn't want to go out, who likes to protest. There we go. So those are all ready to go. Let's go ahead and put some stuff on the card. Get those flowers back up here. So here's the card. I didn't fold that very well, so we'll get that folded better. I'm going to attach this on with my snail. And first off, I do want to do my designer paper. I almost forgot that. This is the first one you want to put down. This is a 5.5 by 1.5 piece. And I'm going to put it right along the right edge of the card. Now I want to put this on, and this goes about the center. Yeah, right at the center of the card, like so. Now I'm going to put the cake on. The cake is just going to go on with snail too, and the stand. So I'll just put some snail different places, make sure I get some along the bottom. Oops, my snail's messing up. There we go. Along the bottom of my stand. And I want it hanging off the bottom of the rectangle and over to the side of the rectangle too. So that looks pretty good. Stick that on. And this one, I want to take some dimensionals, turn it over. As you can see, the Stampin' Blends do bleed to the other side, which is what it's supposed to do. That means I've done a good job. That's why it blends a lot better when you use that much. It kind of looks pretty on this side too. Get a neat abstract look. Okay, that one there. That one didn't want to come off for a second. Then you just line these up really easy. Cover up the flowers that are on the cake. And there you go. You've got a beautiful birthday cake. Or this could be a wedding. This doesn't have to be birthdays. Doing the celebrate, just any kind of celebration that has a cake. It could be a retirement, wedding, of course. Really, this card could be used for a lot of different things. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you did and you don't subscribe to my channel, make sure you subscribe below in the bottom right corner. And then when you subscribe, there's a little bell next to it. If you click on that, you'll be notified every time I do a new video. And you can also follow me on Pinterest, Facebook, and I have a blog. And if you ever want to purchase any Stampin' Up, if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your Stampin' Up demonstrator in the US. And you can click on my Shop Now button down below to place an order. Make sure you check out the Doily Rewards program. If you use my current month host code, which if you're watching this in February, you can see that host code in the bottom left corner. And if it's after February, then just go to my blog and you can see what the new code is for that month. When you use it and spend, for every $50 you spend on an order before shipping and tax, you get a doily. When you get 10 doilies, you get a $50 shopping spree from me, and I even pay for the shipping and tax. So make sure you click on that link if you're interested in that. So I hope you have a great day. Bye.